Good evening, masculine enjoyers. I hope you're doing all right. So, of course, we saw the likes of this Lunar New Year batch of skins being accepted into the Rust store today. Very nice, very cool. But I'm sure many of you are aware that we've had a bit of a weird situation with the Year of the Dragon garage store. So let's just kind of go over all the details. We're going to try our best to explain everything that happened, and then we're going to talk about the future of that garage door skin, because potentially it might be pretty expensive. Why? Well, we'll elaborate. Okay, so the Rust store rotation that happened today, which we can see over to here. Get a good look at that. Very nice, very cool. But you might notice now there's something missing. Something's disappeared. Where's the garage door? What's happened? Where did it go? Well, even though you can still see it in the accepted section, as I refresh, it's still there. There's a bit of a problem with it. And it was actually pointed out earlier in the week, but it still ended up being accepted into the Rust store. So this Rust store rotated fairly early today. But for about 50 minutes, that garage door was in the Rust store, and yes, it was bought. So if I go over to the workshop page, you can see it all here. Looks pretty nice and interesting with a first impression. I wouldn't say no. I'm sure many of you might agree. But when you kind of look in the background of all of this, you might realise something's a bit awkward with it. And we're going to elaborate. So let me just quickly point this out to you. At least 1,100 people did buy this skin within that 50-minute period of time, right? 50, right? Almost an hour. We don't know how many they bought, okay? We don't know how many they bought. So as we look at the likes of that, I now need to show you something. Do you notice a bit of a problem here? Yeah. So, turns out, this whole design was traced. Now, what we see here is the stock image. If we were to go to the likes of this, you can see that, you know, it's been shown on the likes of Etsy here. There is a license to this image, but it appears that it probably wasn't paid for. That's the main problem. Now, this was addressed before the Rust rotated, but it still ended up being accepted. Again, awkward, but we won't go too crazy about that. But yeah, like, you can get a fridge magnet of this if you really wanted to. Yeah, new idea for skin creators right about now if you really want to go for it. Anyway, so this is no longer in the Rust store now. What's going to happen? So, as I already pointed out, we do know at bare minimum it's probably gone ahead and done about, at very least, 1,000 sales. But how many did people buy? So if I were to just quickly go back over to here, some people were aware of the situation. This guy, tracing, is that what we're calling intellectual property theft now? Well, someone's a very bit serious there, isn't he? But he's not kind of wrong. So if I scroll down a fair bit, I have been like pointing out the situation. So we did get this tweet earlier from Benji Main. Would like to bring this to everyone's attention, as most skin creators spend hours and hours designing their own concepts and drawings just for other lazy creators to come along and do a cheap rip-offs and still be accepted. Benji tweeted this out. Alistair noticed. That's where it happened. Like, that's how Face Punch had it brought to their attention, and they pulled it. So if we go over to here, later on, Alistair says this: "It's our belief that the art used on the skin is not original and is used without permission of the IP holder or the correct licensing." So he's responding to the skin creator that made the skin. He sits here and says, because he drew it like and made some minor changes and whatnot, he deems it okay. Face Punch doesn't. Face Punch are the ones who are, you know, providing the skin. They don't want to risk it. They're not having it on sale anymore, okay? So as much as 1SQ can kind of sit here and say this and that and 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 this and that, it doesn't matter. Face Punch have made the decision. They don't want to dabble with that. That's the final say. So, yeah, they don't want to risk anything dodgy. Now, unfortunately, in the past, if you were to go look at the many past skins with, like, Rust skins, there have been many designs in the past in which, you know, we've seen some issues of, maybe some files, some textures and whatnot were probably used without consent and whatnot. So that's definitely happened in the past. In fact, not too long ago, I did make a video. If I were to go over to here, I'm going to take a while trying to find this. But do you remember when I brought up the whole idea of that Skin Balaclava? Do you remember that? We talked about it a good, 3 months ago? I made a video talking about it. I'll find it in a second. It's just over here. There you go. Turns out, that Skin Balaclava, that skin right there, actually used assets from Fallout 3. They took the GOOly texture and then applied it onto a balaclava. And for a fairly reasonable amount of time, people didn't really know. But recently, Pro Toxic, which I do reference here, he kind of made quite a big fuss about it. and then it came to Face Punch's attention, and then nothing really happened. So what I'll do is I'll probably link this in the description of what will be this video, so you can go watch this and learn about that as well. So we don't fully know how many skins probably might have a bit of tracing and whatnot. It's very naughty, very naughty. And Face Punch, as of now, do not want to allow anything like that. So with the likes of that tweet earlier by Benjamin being made, it came to their attention. They realised there was problems with it. They removed it. They don't want to deal with that. So it's been removed from the Rust store. What happens to all the ones that were bought? So we don't fully know right about now what could happen. What I can confirm to you is Face Punch has the ability to be able to make it non-tradable and non-marketable. Do you remember not too long ago when we had the Trust and Rust skins? Initially, things were a bit like broken. Like initially, these two skins were blue, like treated as deplorables. And then if you can recall, the Pirate Garage Door, the Abyss Roadside Gloves, and the Royal M249 for a while were non-tradable, non-marketable. Now, when the Rust store rotated, they actually fixed that, right? They actually fixed it. Now, the reason why that probably happened was because we had the charity skins being added, and, maybe things got kind of a bit, like, mixed up, and these three normal skins ended up becoming non-tradable, non-marketable, because it just so happened they came out in the same week with the charity skins. So they can fix and change things. So who knows what might potentially happen with the likes of this garage door, but now we need to discuss, is it rare? Or is it even one of the rarest garage doors? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go quickly show you something. This is SCMM.app's item database section. And because we can only really look at like subscriber count as a definitive, so we know at bare minimum 1,100 individual people bought this skin within that time period. We don't know how many they bought specifically, though. One person could have bought 10,000 of them, but we wouldn't be able to tell. We can only tell that he is one subscriber. Does that make sense? Cool. So we got that nice and established. So if we were to do a bit of a comparison with all the garage doors, and there's a lot of them. Look at all of them. Wow, so many. Cool. And Twitch drops. So what we'll do, just to kind of clean things up, let's just only look at all the ones that are marketable. There you go. That kind of refines it a fair bit. So there you are. These are all the marketable ones. As you can see here, very nice, very cool. Let's now look at them by subscriber count. So we just scroll down over to here. You might notice that it's not the rarest. We've had some much older skins, some funny old situations. That's a whole nother situation there. This is another weird situation as well. But from what you can see here, these 5 skins are rarer than that. So if you're going to sit there and say, surely that's rare, surely it's valuable, I can't help but assume with this notoriety of this, being a copyright strike skin, it will probably be fairly valuable. But they don't glow in the dark. Oh, okay then, is that what we're going to say? Okay, fair enough. That glows in the dark compared to these. That's nice, that's cool, but these are still rarer. And with the likes of that selling for $55, not too surprised. Plus they also have some transparency and whatnot. Very nice, very cool. So, with what that we know about this, like I said, we don't know how many of them got bought. And we had this discussion earlier, so let me just quickly bring this over. I have a little screenshot. Someone brought this to my attention earlier. I'm not sure, someone could easily Photoshop that, but apparently someone bought 1,000 of these. Again, it might just be a Photoshop. Maybe they just changed the details with the elements and whatnot, who knows. But if that's real, if that's legit, someone must have known something. And yes, people were well aware beforehand what happened with this, because there was actually 2 versions. I think I can back that up real quickly. If I were to quickly go over to here, 1SQ did in fact have a previous version. Yes. And, so with his changed version, that didn't get picked, but that got picked over it. Okay, whatever. It only gets weirder. It only gets weirder. So, yeah, people already knew that was going to be a bit awkward, and, well, if they knew something very likely could have happened, they probably jumped and bought a bunch. So, yeah, there is probably a lot more than we realise that are in circulation. So I can't sit here and say this is one of the rare skins. Not really, no. I do believe there's more out there than we realise. But the main question is, the definitive point, is it actually going to be marketable? So this, of course, only appeared today. 7-day cooldown, so don't forget about that. For the next 7 days, you're not going to be able to buy it, sell it, you know what I mean. You can't list it on the Steam market. But as of now, with all of these skins that you see here, every single one of them is abnormal this week. So all of these skins are expected to appear Wednesday night / Thursday morning next week, when abnormals appear. For me, it's midnight, so Wednesday night going into Thursday morning, midnight time. I'm still expecting that to appear. All right? I'm still expecting that to appear. So, with that, if that's the case, What will its price potentially end up being? So when I mentioned earlier notoriety will still give it some hype, we've had something very similar happen fairly recently. Now, the next skin I'm going to talk about didn't have any copyright issues. The awkward thing was it was actually kind of technically speaking already accepted. What on earth are you on about? I'm going to bring back up the likes of the E-Class Revolver. Do you remember this whole situation? So earlier in the year of 2023, we already had the likes of a No Mercy Revolver being accepted. So if I could just quickly show you this, remember that? So back in April 2023, we had the No Mercy Revolver. Now, if I can recall, I think this was a version 2. Cool, nice, interesting. What happened was, I do believe in the background, hidden away, there's like a list of collection skins that are kind of like kept track of. And when there's a complete the sets, that list is then given to Face Punch and they go ahead and pick some skins. When this was accepted, the version 1 of the No Mercy Revolver wasn't like removed. So when, Face Punch, it's complete the sets, let's go accept some skins from notable collections and whatnot. You got Constellations there, Bombing Collection, you got Toy, you got Cold Hunter, loads of interesting collections. They saw the version 1 of the No Mercy Revolver, and they completely forgot they accepted the version 2 already. That was accepted, and it was only available for like 15 minutes. I can't remember all the details. But, yeah, that got accepted, and then it got removed from the Rust store. And we believe there's, only about a few hundred of these that were probably bought within that time. And if you want to learn more about the E-Class Revolver situation, I do have a playlist dedicated to that. So if you go to my YouTube, look at my playlist, No Mercy Revolver E-Class videos, you can see my initial reaction, like when I saw it with the complete the sets Rust or rotation there. There's a 60-second video going over all the details really quickly, and there's some very nice discussions between me and Mr. Micro, where we properly talk about, is it actually rare? What's its future going to look like? Yeah, so consider watching those in your own time if you'd like. But if we were to go ahead and take a look at that revolver right now, before you say anything, you might notice these details here. It's referencing back to the first No Mercy Revolver. Apparently the workshop's a bit awkward, so that's just messed up based on what the workshop is referencing. Let's go take a look at that skin right now, because it's still valuable. It's still selling very nicely. You can see that it's currently selling for just over $200 still. And most recent sales, just that. So it still retained its value, it still retained its price, but that's not even the rarest revolver skin. But because of the whole story behind it and whatnot, it's got that notoriety and it managed to keep that spot, keep that price. And it will very likely stay like that for a fairly long time. So that's interesting. So back over to here, after learning about this whole situation, will something like that happen with our brand new Lunar New Year Dragon, Chinese New Year Dragon, what is it called? It was called Neon Dragon Garage Door. I don't think there's going to be that big of a price increase, but I can think I do think it's going to be pricier. So with this, garage doors were 3 times an E-Class. No, I don't think so. But if you're referencing the price it's sold for, true. But I don't know. This probably might push up to about $10 or $20. Cool, but will it stay there? Again, maybe the hype will fuel it up. But we do know there's probably about at least bare minimum 5 times more of these compared to the E-Class Revolver. So initially it might sell for a very high price, and if you bought some, congratulations, if it's marketable. If, because again, Face Punch could prevent that. They could say, no, we don't want it to be marketable, removed. So we'll see. Overall, guys, it's going to be very interesting. We're going to see how it all plays out. But if you do happen to own some of them, all right, you might want to leave it for a bit, I guess. Maybe a lot of people are probably going to see this video and think, oh wow, this is amazing, I own some, I'm going to go list it as soon as possible. Because when loads of people list things, loads of people start to undercut each other, and the value of said skin will go down. So maybe you don't want to initially jump in too quickly and try and sell it. Maybe you want to wait a bit. I don't know, it's up to you. If you own a lot of them, all right, you do what you want. You could probably sell one and get all the money back from what you paid from buying as many as you bought. I don't know. But yeah. And based on what the comments I've been seeing here, throughout all of this video, people have been commenting. So as Micro's put it, in regards to the lawyers with Bethesda and Face Punch, we don't know what happened. It was all in the background. Nobody knows what happened. Maybe they did make contact. Maybe Bethesda didn't care. That's correct. So I just wanted to follow up from that. I did see what Micro said, and he did bring up those very useful details. So just because they didn't announce anything about the Balaclava doesn't mean they didn't do anything about it. Correct. Yes. So that we can't really confirm anything because nothing was said. So it's as simple as that. And from here now, we don't know what's going to happen next. FacePunch don't have to say anything. You know, it's their business. It's their, they don't have to say anything from here and now. Maybe, like I said, maybe it does become marketable. Maybe it remains marketable, or maybe it becomes non-marketable. We'll find out. But I can't help but think a lot of people might be upset. Right. So, price. I can't sit here and guarantee what it'll be. But with the hype, it's probably got a bit of a boost, but will that last forever? As you know, during the likes of the rest of this year, we're still going to have like the autumn-fall seasonal dip, and maybe they'll suffer, maybe they'll lose some luster, as time goes on, as the notoriety potentially dissipates. We'll see. But at the very least, we've made this video, we've talked about the whole situation. In short, tracing a stock image asset that's been around for quite some time, which honestly you can get fridge magnets of and whatnot. Like, there's loads of stuff, loads of things out there where you'll see this exact same image. I mean, quite literally, this guy's it's a Hong Kong seller, of course, Amazon anyway. So yeah, they must have stole the asset as well. Do you think they paid the license to use this? I doubt it. Do you think Amazon's going to do anything about it? I doubt it. So yeah, FacePunch is different. They care, and they don't want to potentially have any potential problems, all right? So it's as simple as that. Didn't they make the cola vending machine non-marketable too? Yes. That was available for a short period of time, and once they realised something was awkward with that, they completely said no non-tradable, non-marketable, no longer for sale and everything. So if I go back over to here, you can see that for yourself. So if I remove like garage doors, if I remove marketable, we actually have a ban tag here, but there's only 3 skins that are quote-unquote banned, and that's the Knock Knock rocket launcher, the Rusty Cola machine, and the Crimson head wrap. That was due to a film copyright. That was due to Fallout 4 copyright, and that was due to a Pixabay image asset being used without permission, and it wasn't free. So yeah, so a whole bunch of silly stories there. But with regards to what happened today, as I said, FacePunch do not want to go anywhere near that. So they're just saying, look, we don't want that trouble. We don't want to have it in our Rust store. So it is what it is. And that's that story. So, like I said, if you happen to own some, you might make some pretty good profit. We'll see what happens. So, yeah. And Punisher Mask. However, Punisher Mask is still marketable and tradable. So, some things got, definitively banned. Some other skins, nah, they're just still out there. But Punisher, was it Punisher or Punishment? I can't remember. Either way, that's now very expensive. Very expensive. It's so much so that you can't really even list it on the Steam market because it's that expensive. And again, if I were to look for that, so database, you'd find it. Yeah, you gotta. It's a bit slow sometimes. Punish. There you go. Yeah, hello. Just under $2,000, and you can only see it on third-party sites. Yeah, cool. Can you talk about the festive garland? Not right now. All right. So I feel like we've got to the point where we've covered everything. So with all of that knowledge, you do what you do what you want to do. If you happen to own it, best of luck. And yeah, we'll see what happens next. So we'll see what happens if it does become marketable next week, and we'll see how it progresses. Catch you later. See you, goodbye. Right then, people, hello. So just an extra little snippet to add to what the video was. Turns out we now have this notice here on the workshop page for the garage door. So it says, as a DMCA notice of copyright infringement has been filed on this item. Valve will review the complaint and reach out to the person who posted this item and provide details and information on the next steps. So there's a fairly decent chance in the future this workshop page might be removed. So if you're ever watching this in the future, trying to find out what happened in the past, yeah, you might not be able to find it. This probably is the reason why. So maybe the whole page might get removed. We'll see. We'll find out. So yeah, just wanted to add this little extra bit of information before, well, potentially it's disappeared. So cool. So overall, I hope the whole video was nice and insightful for you. I hope you understand the full picture in regards to what happened. It's unfortunate. But I guess, at the end of the day, it is FacePunch's final word. That's their decision. So, yeah. And, well, the next question, more specifically for us, the skin investors and whatnot, is it going to be marketable? Yes or no? And, well, the only way to find out is just keep an eye out and wait and see. And who knows, maybe it might get fairly expensive. I know there's also a lot of comments, don't really want to show them because quite a lot of them have been a bit mean-spirited, don't want to really feel that. So, yeah, at the end of the day, that's the whole story in regards to this garage door, and well, we'll see what happens next. So thank you very much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you all later. See you and goodbye.